Federal government is moving closer to giving your car the authority to decide whether you're allowed to drive.
Hey guys, so today I'm actually bringing you a video that kind of expands on what I was talking about last month, which was the 3D printer ban. However, this actually affects everyone. And it's not just a 3D printer ban. This one here is something that's going to be in our cars. In fact, it's actually already here. And I was made aware that it was here in our cars by Uncle Tony, who referred to Lauren Fix's video, which is this one behind me that we're going to be reacting to. And he was talking about another YouTuber named, he goes by the handle of 318 Will Run. He told a story, which I'll touch on it a little bit later. So first things first is let's watch Lauren's video, and then I'll bring up Will's video, and we'll see basically the comparison. Hey guys, before we get into the video, if this is the type of content you like, give it a thumbs up, and also consider hitting the subscribe button below. Anyway, let's get on with the repair. All right guys, well, let's get into Lauren's video, but before we do, we're going to like this video, and we're also going to go over to her video, which will be linked down below, and we're going to subscribe, because that's what we do on this channel. We also subscribe to those we react to because we're not jerks. We're going to be fair to these other channels, right? We're going to make sure that we get over there and we give them a subscribe.
Here's a government kill switch update. The federal government is moving closer to giving your car the authority to decide whether you're allowed to drive without a warrant, without due process, and with no guaranteed way to reverse the decision once it's made. We have discussed this kill switch issue in the past, and this update is going to make you mad, and we're going to have to speak up about it. This does not happen quietly by accident. It was passed into law under the Biden administration in 2021 under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It was buried deep in Section 24220, a provision few lawmakers publicly debated, but one that now threatens to fundamentally change the relationship between Americans and their vehicles. Section 24220 directs the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to mandate in, quote, advanced impaired driving prevention technology. In plain terms, it requires systems that monitor drivers and can prevent a vehicle from operating if impairment is suspected.
On the surface, this seems pretty harmless. We'll monitor the person, and if they're impaired, well, we won't let them drive. And this is, you figure, well, you shouldn't be driving drunk and you shouldn't be driving impaired. So why not? This seems like good technology. But this is a big invasion of your privacy. This is adding another layer of surveillance inside your car. You expect this, of all places, you expect your car to be private. We are expecting some semblance of privacy. We especially don't expect to have government oversight or some kind of automotive industry, like such as the manufacturer of your vehicle, having some kind of oversight over your operation of the vehicle. I mean, bought it, it's your car, you should be able to operate it. I mean, what if you're not operating it on a road? What if you're operating it out in the countryside, like on a dirt trail, like a lot of people do, and suddenly government says, oh no, you're not paying attention to your driving, because hey, maybe you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're driving and laughing with a buddy because you're off on an unbeaten trail, and suddenly bang, car shuts off because you're not paying attention. That seems a little bit crazy to me.
No breath test is required. No police officer is involved. The judgment is made by software. Once flagged, the vehicle can refuse to start or restrict operation. And here's the critical issue. There's no federal rules defining how drivers get out of that lockout. No required appeals process, no mandated reset timeline, no human review. Drivers are placed into what critics, or what I call, kill switch jail.
This sounds like kind of like photo radar, basically, where you go through an area that They have a radar set up and it just takes a picture of your plate. Well, what if you were letting someone else borrow your car and they take a picture of your plate, or something's not calibrated properly, or it fires at the wrong time? I mean, it is AI software that's doing all the detection, and let's face it, AI is very fallible. I mean, we can prove it time and time and time and time and time again. AI is very fallible. So this kind of invasion of privacy, they say, is software, but I mean, let's look at the story of Magic AI. Yeah, exactly.
with no exit. So you could be stuck on the side of the road and have no way to start your vehicle. And that'd be lovely if things don't go your way while you're stuck on the side of the road. This is not targeted enforcement. It applies to every driver, every time, regardless of your driving history. And that alone should raise constitutional alarms. Now, drunk driving laws already exist and they work. Ignition interlock devices have long been required for convicted offenders, and there are 31 approved interlock systems currently in the nation. These systems require a breath sample and are imposed only after due process. But Section 24220 ignores that proven approach and instead punishes all drivers preemptively, even for those who do not drink at all.
So much for due process.
Under the mandate, automakers can choose from a range of technologies to comply. These include driver facing cameras, they're already doing that. Tracking eye movement, they're already doing that.
Blue Cruise?
Head position, and software analyzing steering and lane keeping behavior. And yes, they're already doing that too. Or they could create something that doesn't exist yet called touch based alcohol sensors, and that would be embedded in the steering wheel or the start button.
Yeah, there's a good chance that they have all this in cars already. That's not a very flattering pause of Lauren. So I really wouldn't be surprised if they have this technology in cars already. Wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me.
And that would be embedded in the steering wheel or the start button. Imagine if you had someone with you in the passenger seat who drank too much and you offered to drive them home. Well, it would pick that up too. And none of these systems determine guilt. They calculate probability and then deny you access. False positives are inevitable. You can have fatigue, prescription drug medications, medical conditions such as diabetes, neurological disorders, or even stress can trigger impairment alerts.
To be fair, some medications, like doctor prescribed medications, they do cause significant impairment. So I would not recommend driving under the influence of those kind of medications, because if they are actually impairing you in your ability to be able to function as a person, I don't think you really should be able to drive. So that's not entirely wrong. You shouldn't be driving under the influence of medications at all. But I mean, that's not up for the car to decide. Ultimately, that's up for you to decide. And if you decide to do it, well, hopefully you face the consequences of doing it. Anyway, let's carry on.
So, shift workers, caregivers, parents, first responders are particularly vulnerable. When the system is wrong, the consequences are immediate, and the driver has no guaranteed recourse. This is not a safety feature that activates during a crash. It's preemptive denial of mobility imposed by a government mandated algorithm. You can tell I'm not happy about this, and you shouldn't be either. Despite mounting concerns, Congress has repeatedly refused to stop it. In January 2026, an amendment offered by Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky to block funding for NHTSA's implementation of Section 24220 was defeated. While many House Republicans and Democrats voted against it, numerous lawmakers who initially opposed the concept were persuaded or misled into supporting the funding, allowing the mandate to move forward.
And it's funny, on a Facebook post that I read, where someone said that they had actually contacted Congress or contacted their state legislature regarding the 3D printer ban in Washington state. And Washington state says, "Oh, we're not pursuing it at this time." It's not just Washington state. California's doing it as well. And I believe New York's also trying to implement the 3D printer ghost gun ban. There's even this program or this, sorry, not program, but this printer brand right here, and take a look at what they're implementing. Yeah, exactly. So when they're saying, when I read that comment saying that, oh, we're not pursuing it at this time, yeah, sure. This has been ongoing with this kill switch in a car. This has been ongoing for years. I remember reading back about this. Um, that would have been back around 2010 when they were talking about stuff like this, having a interlock inside your car where when you get in and you go to start it, if you've had anything to drink, it automatically detects that, regardless of whether you already have the breathalyzer in your car. Let me see if I can find the article. Take a look at this. And this is written October 3rd, 2008. Roughly not far from what I was talking about in 2010. An interlock an interlock system using biometric scans to identify in real time an individual who seeks to operate a mechanical device such as an automobile. Biometric features that uniquely identify an individual are selected. If a real time biometric scan of the individual does not match a stored image of an authorized operator, the interlock system will lock the mechanical device to prevent operation. So, this is even talking about facial recognition. So, let's say you're the one that's supposed to operate the vehicle, but someone else gets in and it says, sorry, you're not an authorized user, therefore you can't operate this vehicle. Well, this is from factory saying that, oh no, it's automatically locked to you. This would make selling the car a nightmare because now you have to delete your authorized usage from the vehicle and then have someone upload that. And where are these images stored? On the car? Absolute nonsense. Because if it's stored in the car and someone hacks the car, they can download the information. Because let's face it, all cars today are OTA. It's how they get their updates. They're all OTA, and this is how this kill switch works. Right. Speaking of kill switch, let's get back to the video.
Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee was also very upset about the support to keep the bill funded. Consumers are speaking out. They won't buy new cars. This could be a negative impact on the auto industry and increase the cost of used cars as people say, no, we're not going to stand for it. That is why defunding Section 4 220 has to be done now.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. Prices of used cars are skyrocketing, and I'm seeing that with just the value of my car. It's a Juke. It's literally a Nissan Juke. Right now, my car is valued about the same price as I bought it 2 years ago. How does that make sense? It's like I've driven the car for free. That it's a Nissan Juke. Like, granted, yes, it's a stick shift, so it's a Euro spec Juke, so it's more of a cult niche following, and those that have the car that are selling it, no, they know their car is going to last if you take care of it, because it's a stick shift. It doesn't have the Jatco CVT transmission. Those things are junk, and that's what Nissan's known for: junk transmissions. You look at for an automatic Juke, and their prices are, they reflect that they're junk. They're basically, I think, between $5,000 and $8,000. Get rid of the automatic transmission, and all of a sudden your selection goes down to like maybe 3 cars nationwide in Canada. And this is for cars under 150,000 kilometers, which I think is just under, I think it's about 80 to 85,000 miles, maybe 90,000 miles, somewhere in that vicinity. For cars around there, you're looking between 14 and $19,000 if you can find one. And that's the hard part, trying to find one. So yeah, the used market, it's gone absolutely through the roof. The values of used cars is nuts. Old cars, The old car market, and this is why I also follow Uncle Tony, because I'm looking at an old car. I want to get something maybe in the 60s and bring it around and see if I can get it running. Although I'd rather have one that's running, that I can already have running, and maybe fix it up here and there. I was thinking like a Corvair or like a Valiant or something like that. But we'll see as time goes on. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
It's meaningful, and we have to stop this program. Now, there are supporters.
Oh, sorry, I got off on a little bit of a tangent. Those prices, I've noticed them creeping higher and higher and higher and higher. And I'm not talking just about like the old Corvairs and the old Valiant. I'm talking across the board. Even 70s cars, 80s cars, 90s cars are really getting up there in price, because those are really starting to get high in demand, because low on electronics, very few computers, and they just run and run and run and run and run. It's like back in the 90s, people knew how to build cars. Fast forward to today, no one knows how to build a car. All they build are rolling tablets that you hit a bump and suddenly the whole car bricks. Just like if you drop your tablet, the whole thing bricks. We've forgotten how to build cars.
That argue that the technology does not allow the government agents or the police to remotely shut down your vehicle. While technology, true today, the mandate still requires continuous driver monitoring. And once that hardware becomes standard across the vehicle fleet, expanding its use to become a political decision and not a technical limitation, well, that could be a problem. And you can easily expand on that in your own head, knowing that this could be a problem in the future. Privacy and cybersecurity risks compound the problem. Systems capable of denying vehicle operation must meet extraordinarily high standards of accuracy and protection, and those standards have not been proven on a national scale. A hacking or a malfunctioning system could strand drivers in dangerous situations during extreme weather, which we're having right now, or medical emergencies or remote travel.
Oh, gee, remote travel. Did I not just mention that not that long ago? Let's rewind a little. Hey, maybe you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're driving and laughing with a buddy because you're off on an unbeaten trail, and suddenly bang. Yeah, out with your buddies. And it says, "Oh, you're drunk." Clearly. And it shuts down your vehicle. How's that for government oversight? I mean, what if the vehicle is 100% paid off? It's not on any road, it's not plated, it's there's a good chance you've probably made it no longer street legal. That people do that. They raise them, put these monstrous tires on them, drive them out in the bush, and run over. I don't know. They run over like little saplings and 300-year-old trees and stuff like that, and they just run them over. I don't know what you guys do out in the bush, because I don't live out in the bush. Well, I'm not far from the bush, but I don't live. I'm in the bush. I live in a small rural community. But yeah, I mean, you're out there and suddenly the vehicle says, "Oh, you're not paying attention. Why are you allowed to drive?" And it stops you from driving. How is that fair? How is that fair at all? Or in the middle of a snowstorm, like she's talking about, and all of a sudden the vehicle shuts down on the side of the road.
That sounds like a nightmare, and there's a million scenarios I'm sure you can come up with. Now, the cost of another unavoidable consequence, we can't handle that. Vehicles are already becoming unaffordable for many Americans. Adding cameras, sensors, software, and compliance infrastructure will only accelerate prices and shrink consumer choice. Drivers who want simpler, more reliable vehicles will have fewer options because mandates leave no room for opting out. Proponents compare this mandate to seatbelts and airbags, and that analogy actually fails. Seatbelts do not prevent you from driving, and airbags deploy after an accident. This system intervenes before the wrongdoing occurs, based on assumptions rather than certainty, and enforces compliance by denying access altogether. An effort to repeal Section 24220 outright, including the no kill switches in Cars Act, remain stalled. We need it passed. Without immediate and sustainable pressure, this mandate will quietly become standard equipment in all new vehicles. And that's supposed to start this year in 2026 models. And that's not on what's on the lot right now, but that can be changed through software pretty darn quickly. And this is not about defending drunk driving. It's about stopping a government overreach that treats every driver as a suspect and hands control of your personal mobility to software. Now, if Americans want to prevent this future of Section 24220, we must defund this kill switch bill before it becomes a mandate. And that would be a problem for all future cars and all next generations. Now more than ever, this is the time to contact your elected senators and representatives and demand they defund Section 4220. Don't let them get misled by those that think this is a great idea. They want control. We want freedom. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts.
Okay, guys, make sure that you go over to her channel and you give her a like and you give her a subscribe, because if you didn't at the beginning, well, you should now, because hey, we just watched your video. It's only fair. Anyway, that brings me on to part 2, and that is this video. So as you see here, we've got 318 Will Run. And he had a really, really, really interesting experience. Let's get it. Let's cue up his video and get it going. But first things first, we're going to subscribe and we're going to like his video. And now, let's get into it.
I'm going to share with you something that I witnessed just the other night that could have cost somebody their life, or in the very least, some serious bodily harm. Just to be clear, I can't explain how it all works. I can only tell you what I witnessed. I'm not IT, but it has to do with your new car and maybe an app on your phone. So if you haven't figured it out.
And why do you need an app on your phone to use your car? And I've been hearing about this a lot, and I mean a lot lately, that if you don't have this app on your phone to talk to your car, you can't have things like remote start. You can't have it have, I don't know, turn your heated seats on, stuff like that. It's like, what? Whatever happened to the old version where the heated seats are already on because you left them on when you got out of the vehicle because it's cold, and you have remote start? So you should be able to remote start your vehicle without needing your phone. Be able to do it on your key fob. And why is everything a push button? Why does it have to be a push button? What happened to the key? The key was so much easier. At least with the key, when you put it in and turn it, it starts your car. You know how many times I get in my car with just the key fob and I go to start it and nothing happens? And I have to sit there and fiddle with the buttons for like 10 minutes for it to finally realize, oh, it's actually in the car and you want me to start. Okay, give me a second. You hit start, and then next thing you know, it's flashing orange again and says can't find the key. Why did we get rid of the key? Why did we go to just a fob? It's just stupid. I don't understand this whole. I like old cars.
I live where it's cold and snowy, and
Cute dog.
we've been in a deep freeze here. Today is probably our warmest day in the last month. It's like 23 degrees out Fahrenheit. But we've been in a deep freeze at night. It's been getting down to 8 below, 18 below, 14 below, without the wind chill, mind you. This
He must be out in the Midwest, because here where I am, we didn't get quite that cold. I mean, we got cold, but we didn't get that cold. That's cold.
night in particular, I think it was 6 degrees minus the wind, without the wind chill. I think with the wind chill, we were below zero, but actual temperature was 6 degrees. And I'm on my way home, and 11 o'clock at night, and I see a car sitting to the side. And as I'm going by, I recognize this car. And here, I like, oh, it's a guy I work with. And so I hit my brakes, and I see a dark figure up ahead of his car walking. He's like 4 miles away from home. And so I pull off the road, and I said, what happened? Because his car is basically almost new. It's a 23. So anyways, he said I was going to.
So 2023. He's got a 2023 and his car's already doing this. So this technology's been in cars for a bit.
Down the road, everything's fine. And all of a sudden, the dashboard lit up. And it said, it's a hybrid, gas, electric. And it said, hybrid engine failure. Turn off engine immediately. That's what his whole dashboard said. So he hits the brakes, pull off to the side, shuts the car off. And as soon as he did, the car goes dead.
So you could be stuck on the side of the road and have no way to start your vehicle. And that'd be lovely if things don't go your way while you're stuck on the side of the road.
Hybrid engine failure. I understand that you'd panic if you're in that situation, but it sounds like he was on the highway. Most hybrids, when you're on the highway, the engine kicks on, or it's a combination of the engine and the battery, because the battery is not going to last very long in a hybrid. Even a plug-in hybrid, the battery does not last long, and usually above 40 kilometers an hour, which I think is 25 miles an hour, give or take. I think the engine kicks in normally anyway. So if the hybrid engine failed, you would know, because you'd probably not hear the engine anymore. And I know you hear the engine on a hybrid because we had an old Prius. We had a 2017 Prius, and when the engine kicked in, you knew. We also had a 2016 Volt, and when the engine kicked in, you knew. So I'm not quite sure I understand the reasoning for that kind of an error. Hybrid engine failure. That is bizarre.
Nothing happened. He got out of the car. He couldn't even lock his door when he went to try to walk home, which he probably shouldn't have tried to walk with a wind chill of below zero. You shouldn't be walking, but that's the decision he made.
Shouldn't be walking.
It wouldn't do anything. Anything. He got 2 software updates on his phone for his car. Didn't get the 3rd software update. What ended up being the problem with this car, guys and gals, is the car needed there was nothing mechanically wrong with the car. Zero. Other than the fact that the manufacturer wanted to do a software update. I mean, you think we were talking about a desktop computer?
The only part that's mechanically wrong with the car is probably the build year. It had too many 2s at the beginning of the year. If there was a 1 there, this wouldn't have happened. The car wouldn't just shut down randomly. But it seems like you add that little 2 instead of the 1 at the beginning for the year, and all of a sudden everything changes. All these cars seem to get more and more electronic. You get to around 2010 and everything starts becoming computerized. Under the Obama administration, we got backup cameras. Yeah, backup cameras, I understand. There's a lot of people that literally can't drive, and the fact that they're backing up these massive wall box, fridge, living room, house on wheel things, and they can't drive, and they're backing up, and they expect to drive this thing. I think I'm okay with backup cameras and having a small screen for the backup camera. But it seems like we just started slapping in more and more and more and more screens and cameras and everything else. Even cameras that are rear view mirrors and your wing mirrors. The interesting thing about a mirror is if you're sitting here, the image isn't static like on a screen. On top of that, if you don't want to adjust your mirror, so to speak, because you want to see just a little bit more, You do that. And all of a sudden your view angle changes. When I do this on a screen, I can't see more behind me and to the side by looking from the side. I can't see more. It shows me what the camera sees. That's it. It's a fixed eye. Whereas if you're looking on an angle with a mirror, you can change the angle of the light that you're seeing reflecting back into your eyes. It's really not rocket science. It's just light. That's it. Yeah, that won't happen, at least with me, because the newest vehicle that we have is our 2019 Corolla, and honestly, that's a little too new. But my wife, she doesn't even really like it. She says it's got too much technology in it. She doesn't like the cruise control, the way it works. I don't either. It tries to stop the vehicle, like it'll flash a warning, brake, 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 when you approach a hill, and it says, oh my god, there's a hill, and suddenly tries to brake because it thinks it's a wall. These sensors are no good. So they're not very smart at all. They're going to cause a lot more problems. Clearly these sensors are doing the same thing with him. And yeah, could you imagine this situation happening to you, happening to your wife, happening to your kids? What if it was your daughter or your son that's out there, and it's their first time really being out on their own in a car? They've just really learned how to drive, and you're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And suddenly this happens. This should not be happening. He is 100% right here. Like, imagine this happened to you or your family or your loved ones.
It didn't matter if there was a baby on board. That car was going to shut off 11 o'clock at night in the middle of nowhere. And then what? Well, get on your phone. Call for help. Okay, beautiful. Not every place up in the northern and northwest do you get cell phone reception. And in this particular case, the guy happened to leave his phone at home. Now, we've all done that, right? I left my phone at home. If you accidentally leave your phone at home and your car company shuts your car off for a software update, what's a mom and her baby supposed to do? What's your grandma supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? How long are you going to last before you have frostbite? How long are you going to last before you die? I don't live in an area that I'm in the middle of a large city and blah, blah, blah. There's some open areas. And even though it's kind of not as open as many of the areas out there, I mean, this could happen to you where? In some open area in North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana? What if your battery
Alberta,
phone is dead?
Saskatchewan.
He couldn't even charge a phone if he would have had it and it been dead in his car because it shut it all. He couldn't even lock his car door while I gave him a ride to town so nobody would come along and open his door. Are you okay with this? So I thought, that's just weird. A guy I work with bought a new Chevrolet, and he says he's getting software updates with his phone. Another guy I work with, he's got a newer Ford F-150, and he gets software updates. And so these people are all getting software updates. Are they all going to shut you off if you don't do the update? Do they update automatically? If there's a glitch in the system and they don't get the update, your car shuts off without a physical problem with the car. There's nothing wrong with the engine transmission. There's nothing wrong with the fuel. There's nothing wrong with anything in your car. Mechanically, it's 100% solid, but it ain't going to run because you don't get the software update.
Which that's the problem with cars. As I said, you're not getting a car. You're getting a tablet on wheels. If you drop a tablet or drop your phone, what happens? Chances are you brick your phone, brick your tablet, because they're not designed to take an impact. Electronics aren't. They're very fragile. And if they get any kind of an overvoltage in any way, shape, or form, they're fried too. So if you get any kind of voltage coming back on the ground switching, because a lot of vehicles are done through ground side switching, guess what happens? It fries all the electronics in the car, because on the ground side, there's no more safeties. So that's why if you're putting on your battery and you still have the ground connected when you're putting on the positive terminal, which is why you should always remove the ground first and put the ground on last. Always make sure the negative is first and the negative is last. So it's first to come off and last to go on. And the reason for this is because when you're putting down the positive one, if you short out to ground or to the negative on the battery from the positive, and you send positive voltage down through the ground side, now it's affected all the computers. And a lot of time it's 12 volts on the ground side coming back, and the computer's only on 5 volts, not 12. So you just fried everything in that car. Nice. Gotta love this nonsense of electronics on wheels. Basically, you are driving a computer program. So if it doesn't have the latest update, what happens? Well, they basically shut it down. What happens when they stop making updates? Well, eventually it's going to shut down. What happens with Windows 10? They stop making updates because they're hoping eventually it shuts down and everybody moves on to the newer infrastructure.
I guess I'm going to say this. I don't know the reasons why. If you guys understand all this, just type it all the way down there, because I don't understand how this all works. I'm very analog. See, I was all nervous when they came out with drive-by-wire. Do you remember when the Toyotas were flooring themselves and crashing because the drive-by-wire was acting up? People were getting hurt. I don't even like drive-by-wire. I got 2 cars that do it. My Dodge Ram pickup and my Honda Accord. They got drive-by-wire, and I can't stand it.
Pretty much all cars now.
Everything else I got
drive-by-wire.
has a cable. Forget to like and subscribe or anything else. I am asking you, if you got knowledge and you're smart about this stuff. I'm not, okay? I'm just saying what I witnessed. I witnessed it. You can put it down in the comments of what all happened and what all went wrong and how this is all set up to work. But in the meantime, it would be good if you shared this for nothing else, for the sake of
I'm trying to share
might
this
actually
with you
save
guys.
a life. For real. Stay warm.
Yeah, guys, that's what I've got for you today. And honestly, this is nuts. And yeah, as you can see, more of this whole problem. California banning open source. Yeah, pre-ban list. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, this is all I've got for you today. All the videos will be linked down below. And yeah, I look forward to seeing all you guys in the next one.